Hi everyone, thank you for joining another LeadSquared webinar. It's always good to see you here. For those of you who joined us last week in our series of automation and sales webinars, I hope you picked up a thing or two. As I said that day, we are focusing on the education sector this week. So this webinar is for those in the higher education sector, but like I said before, anyone is welcome to join this session. Today we are discussing admissions and post-COVID and the way forward for counselors and enrollments. So, like any other business, the education sector has also been greatly impacted by COVID. And that's why we have an expert here to sort of guide us for the year ahead, what to expect, what was felt and experienced in 2020. And of course, maybe share a few secrets on how to do our job better. So I'm introducing our speaker for the day, Dr. Kavita Shukla, as you can see on your screen. She's from Amity University. So she is the Vice President Student Recruitment there. She is a strongly driven professional with a proven track record of target achievement, entailing a combination of high-level business development, leadership, training skills, among others. And her role involves developing and launching awareness programs, understanding the student psyche, and the academic choices. So good to have you, Dr. Shukla. And if you could also please share a few lines about yourself, your experience here, and then we can get on with the session.
Thank you so much, Shivani. I'm truly honored. Thank you for inviting me, and it's my pleasure to speak to your audience. Thank you for the wonderful introduction that you gave for me. But I have been an educationist for last 30 years. That is my biggest identity, and I'm passionate about young generation and education, the teaching learning modes, and how to bring about change in society through education. So that has been my passion for last 30 years, and that is what has brought me to this stage that I'm able to speak to you on this platform today. So thank you so much, and I'll be happy to share my thoughts on my current role, that is, I head the admissions here in Amity University Dubai. I've been an associate professor for last so many years. So academic, I have moved through the academic ranks and started my career as a lecturer. And then today I am associate professor. I have a PhD in consumer psychology. So that gives me a little bit of more passion to understand consumers' psyche and understand what the other person needs and create a solution for them. So that has been, and I've been a marketing professor all through my teaching career. So that is what has been my identity. And today my talk with you on this platform will be on the admissions in the pre and post-COVID era and how it impacts the biggest stakeholders in this whole scenario, that is the admissions counselors. Yeah. So let me start with my few slides which I prepared for the audience. And okay.
Sure. Just a quick pointer before you continue, Dr. Shukla. So for those of us in the audience, please do keep your questions coming. We have Dr. Shukla here, and from LeadSquared, we have Murli, who is our sales expert in the education sector. So we have both of them here to answer your questions. So keep your questions coming, and we will take them up towards the end of the session. All right, over to you, Dr. Shukla. I will go back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So, okay, so today the topic of the presentation is admissions in pre and post-COVID and the way forward for counselors and enrollments. This is a pertinent question which is on the top of the mind of every admissions counselor the world over. So we are in an unprecedented pandemic situation. Despite having extraordinary scientific leaps in the last few decades and in the last century also, we still find ourselves in a pandemic situation where it has affected all aspects of our lives. So what I would say is that it's a VUCA world. So through this presentation, we will take you through it's a VUCA world. So we will see that how VUCA it is, and what are the coping strategies for this VUCA world, having a pandemic, having shutdowns, lockdowns, no travel bans, movement, bans on movement. So there is a huge amount of restrictive environment that has been created through this viral infection. And then the one thing which has all woven us together or kept us all connected, that is the technology. And the technology has been a binder as well as a divider also. So we will see that what is the digital divide that has emerged in the world. Then one very important aspect of admission counseling is the entire ecosystem of education, that how it operates. So education policy making for the future, that what education leadership across the world, academic leadership is thinking about, how they are going to make policies which will overcome this pandemic situation, and which will give the youth and others also a chance for great education once again. And then education policy translates into practices, that what is the education practices that will come up. So one practice that we saw repeatedly happening in last 9 to 10 months was the closure of schools and closure of higher education institutes to combat with the pandemic and to ensure social distancing norms are followed. So that is education practices. We will see that there will be some permanent changes in the education practices in the coming future. And also when we talk of technology, we will see its applications, that what applications will come up in the future which will for delivering, for education delivery. So it will be artificial intelligence, augmented reality, IoT in education delivery. And then we will look at the societal changes, we will look at the behavioral changes, that what the students, how the student mindset is changing post-pandemic, what are the challenges faced by the counselors and how they can overcome it, and what are going to be the educational institutional strategies. So this is broadly the pan of my presentation this hour. So we are talking of a extreme case of VUCA. Now VUCA, it is volatility. It is a highly volatile situation. Every day things are changing, and despite having 9 to 10 months of existence in this situation, just yesterday I read that Netherlands is going into a complete lockdown once again. So no country has till now understood or perfected a system to combat this virus. Though we have the vaccine will take some time to get dispensed to everyone. So it's a highly volatile situation, and things are changing every day. So then uncertainty, of course, we have complete uncertainty around that will the vaccine be effective or not effective, how will it give us the confidence to again have a normal life and travel around and move, no restriction on movements. Then it's becoming a complex structure, because we have to combat with changes in lifestyle, changes in work environment, changes in the way we transport to our offices, the way we travel, everything. It is a very complex web which is emerging, and there is a lot of ambiguity. So to counter a VUCA world, it can be countered by vision, understanding and clarity and agility. So definitely vision, policy making needs a lot of vision. So education policy needs to understand that what would be good for the future, and uh, keep our thought process towards that. So education, it's one of the sectors which has been most widely affected by this pandemic, and uh, we have gone on an unprecedented scale to the use of technology to impart education and make sure that the young generation is kept engaged, and it is engaged in useful and productive activities. Pandemic has also resulted in a great digital divide. When we look at the way technology had been used, uh, we use technology across the world, but when we look at some closer figures, we see that Africa has internet connectivity of say 15%. 11% of the students had access to online education, whereas the worldwide the figures were 15% and 57%. So it has exposed a great digital divide also, which though we are all living in different continents and each country has its own policy, but the way coronavirus has traveled across the world, it has shown us that we are actually linked by one thread, and we are how tightly the humanity is linked together. So the digital divide is something that is something which the policymakers need to overcome and understand, and more government funding has to come in so that children across the world have access to a high quality education and they are able to continue to be employable. This is a graph which shows the country percentage of online delivery during school closures during the height of the pandemic, that was in the summers. And here we see that Africa is very low. The online access to education was very low. Highest was, as always, Europe, and even Latin America was on the lower side. Asia was, some countries in Asia had greater access. So this is the digital divide which I was talking about. So all this digital divide will have an impact on the upcoming education policy. So what should the academic leadership across the world do, and what kind of policy should be made so that we are able to never find ourselves again in this situation, and we are able to dispense quality education to the young generation. So one very important and one very big task that the policymakers have in front of them is that the kind of definition of programs, the new program structures, new learning outcomes that they have to define and design to to make students ready for the job world for the next decade, where those jobs are, we don't even know about those jobs. So due to the rapid development of technology and high rate of knowledge production, we are actually not ready for what is going to be the job world in the coming decade. One very important, great example of having a sustainable job is cybersecurity area, where I've heard from experts that cybersecurity is going to be one area where you can enter and you can retire from that sector. So, but we really don't know that what kind of jobs will be available. So there is a onus on the academic leadership that what kind of policies should be made, how agile should our academic curriculums be, so that we are able to combat with this kind of changes in the environment. And the social ambitions also, one last aspect of policy making, which will also define its nature and shape, is going to be the global trends and the social ambitions. of people, how people are going to react to the latest developments. So education policy across the world, it drives education practice, and education practice means that how to what level we are going to use the technology, the shutdown of schools, and the blended learning modes, the use of augmented reality to keep the children engaged. So these are some of the educational practices which can be outcome of great policy making. And new models of education will come up, and already in the last 8 to 10 months, we at Amity University Dubai, we have already implemented a blended learning mode where the students were immediately shifted to the online portals, and the classes continued as always. Some of the classes, as the restrictions have gone down, some of the classes have come back on the campus. But this is these are kind of models which have to be perfected and which have to be accepted also, because any kind of model has to have acceptance of the industry, that they accept that yes, this student is employable because he has taken a blended or online course. So one thing which is a reality and which is going to be a permanent outcome of this pandemic is going to be the physicality of education may not be so important as it was once. So the physical bricks and mortar place may not be so sustainable and viable in the coming very near future. So physicality is going to be a question, and the decision makers and the students and the other stakeholders like parents are going to question that whether the traditional mode of education has passed over, and there are more options for online education. So this is going to be one of the factors where the policymakers might need to adjust themselves. And one very important truth has come out of this pandemic situation, that is the increase in the number of adult learners. So a lot of people who had left education long time back are coming into the fold because of 2-3 factors. One is the accessibility, that online education is there and you can have access to great learning experience, whether it is professors from Stanford, Harvard, or any world-class university. And then there is the acceptance of online education. So accessibility and acceptance both are bringing a new demographic into the fold of education sector. So what are the radical changes in higher education that are going to come? Some 5 to 7 years back, we had already started seeing the implementation of augmented reality in the classrooms, virtual reality, and now it is coming to augmented reality. Small children in schools were given classes on robotics. So all those things which we started some 5-6 years back, and children across the world were exposed to these newer techniques, are now going to become the norm. And augmented campuses will increase, so that the question of distance can be overcome and students are engaged, and we improve the learning techniques, and the engagement is there with the activities, and students are able to create online communities and be engaged with each other, overcome the social distancing. So that is going to be one of the permanent changes of this pandemic. And one more thing that is going to be a reality is the use of cutting edge innovation and technology in education sector. Already we are almost all aspects of all departments of university, functional university, are dependent on technology, and are using different types of platforms. But there will be a deeper and more and more innovation will come into the use of technology in imparting, in teaching learning goals, in achieving teaching learning goals, and in imparting education. So there is going to be a bigger partnership with the private players and companies like Alphabet from Google and Microsoft, and these big software makers and the small technology companies will have greater partnerships with education providers, and we will continue to look for greater innovation in this sector, in implementation in education sector. So there is a lot of scope for innovation and technology, and there is going to be a greater demand and surge in the area of research. So I'm already seeing a great interest in PhD admissions, and more across the world, people individuals with masters are going for research degrees like PhD and MPhil, because that will give them an edge, and it will increase their employability chances also, because just a minute. So that means there is going to be a definite shift towards research and innovation, and a lot of students will continue to have the higher and higher degrees in research and innovation. And then obviously the last part is the enhancing the university experience through augmented reality and artificial intelligence technologies. Now there are many scientific programs where students from home cannot access the labs, and how they will do the labs. So there will be use of augmented reality to overcome that, and so the students are able to have the lab experience sitting at home. And so these are some of the innovative approaches which all universities across the world are examining and are trying to find. So the use of technology will continue, and one fact which is also emerging is the Internet of Things, where learning will become one of the key domains of IoT, from being a tangible manipulation of technology to more notion of infused learning. So IoT will become very important and has already become very important, but now it will come into the forefront, and it will become more used in a daily manner. So as I was talking about greater urgency towards research and development, and there is going to be a great demand for data scientists and researchers and people who can visualize the data and use technology, come up with innovative ideas of the implementation of technology. So that is what the technology will continue to impact in all aspects of our teaching learning modes. And then we have all these will also trickle down to the school systems, starting from the university. And then one fundamental shift will be required for to implement these strategies. We will need political support, and public funding will be required. So education industry will be a lot more supported by the government. So there is a lot of changes which are coming at the institutional levels, and there there has to be even our staffs have to be realigned and make more technology dependent and high technology users. So then what are the models which are going to come up as an outcome of all these changes that are coming? So maybe a blended learning mode will continue to remain, but that will also give a greater accessibility to students in countries of Africa where they had little access earlier to a physical school because of different reasons, socioeconomic, political reasons. So maybe the era of traditional residential campuses is on the phase out side, it looks like it. And so these are some of the practices which will percolate in the education sector, and this will have a direct impact on the student enrollments. So what is happening on the student enrollment front? One trend which there are 2-3 studies which I went through, and one study by McKinsey showed that students are going to choose to stay close to home. So international movement of students may be hampered, it looks like, for the coming very near future. So we will have so there were a lot of universities across the world, and especially in countries like US and UK, where they were dependent on the international student enrollments. So maybe that is going to change, and already enrollments from international students is going down. So the students are choosing to stay at closer to home. And according to the survey, many students, they also said that we might take a gap year and start to work sooner than later. And there is going to be an upsurge in the adult learners, non-traditional students who will enter the higher education system to reskill and upskill, because there are many industries which will be permanently wiped out because of this pandemic. So there is going to be a greater need for reskilling and upskilling. And some statistics are there that 15% students across the world are likely to defer their enrollment by at least a semester, and 45% are likely to look for a different school. So these are this is the study by McKinsey which I have taken up, and it shows that the students are going to defer, or they have changed their plans. So one statistic which is so 15% is quite a big number, where we are seeing that the students might stay out of the education system. Then 21% have changed their first choice school. So probably if their first choice school was in outside their country, so they have changed, and obviously cost and location have become one of the factors. So there is a definite shift in the consumer perception also. So now all these things have a direct impact on the admissions counselors. So what are the challenges that the admissions counselors they are going to face because of this? Now enrollment goals have to be seriously defined, realistic. They have to be realistic, and keeping the different scenarios under consideration. And the second challenge is of communication, that how effectively an admission counselor can communicate the changed statuses and the changed nature of academic delivery. So it is very important that the admissions counselors are very well versed in what is the nature of the change, and they are able to instill confidence in the parents that the institution is completely 100% prepared to support the child in its learning needs, and then that there is no compromise that is happening. Then the value propositions have to be more clearly defined and communicated. One research has shown that there are 25% of students who wanted to observe an online class. So now this thing is also going to come up. So the admissions counselors have to be more connected to the academic domain, and they have to be more alert to the needs of the students, and they have to on an institutional level, even institutions have to create more financial options, solutions, innovation in the way fees are collected, and understanding the shifting needs. So that is what is some of the challenges faced by admissions counselors, and uh, they have to redefine and be more agile with the use of technology. So that is something that training and development of these education counselors has to be done, and they have to be oriented to the changing circumstances. Now, all this has an outcome on the educational institutional strategies, that what should the institutions do to combat this kind of situation. Now, one very important tool that every institution will use and will continue to use and has to use is the strategic use of data. So there is going to be a lot of emphasis and dependence on data to find the right type of trends, and to make keep employees who are data driven, who are driven to be innovative, who can visualize data, and who can react to data. So we are at academic leadership stages. We all understand that how the use of digital technologies and use of data management can help us to increase our enrollments and keep in touch with the prospective student and keep the engagement levels high. So there is going to be enhanced emphasis on data management and digital operations of obviously all aspects of admission process and enrollments has to be digitized, and we have to find new and new ways to improve the digital interactions with the students and other stakeholders. So that is where this is where platforms like LeadSquared, they help the counselors to keep the engagement levels high, and keep an engagement level which is periodic and which is consistent and which is very proactive and reactive. So that is one aspect which all universities and all higher education institutions will continue to improvise on. And as we have seen that international student movement has, though it is a little highly impacted now, but we have to look at diversifying student populations and finding academic programs which are more in line and in sync with the future needs. So more and more programs which are like blockchain, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and which are software related, computerized, and some application based programs like animation, which we run here at Amity University Dubai. So gaming is a $3 trillion industry, and animation, entire gaming industry is dependent on animation, people who have animation skills and degrees. So these type of programs, which are not only fundamental in nature, but also they are application oriented. So we have to find those academic programs which are which have greater application in the coming years. And education institutions will continue to redefine the way they move in the um, to and one more thing which is onus has come on the institutions is the financial impact. So there has to be there has to be strategies which are more towards unbundling their pricing and creating specific costs which are suitable to individual students. And because there has been a financial impact across the world. Economies are down, the world GDP is going down by 3% almost, and so many people are finding themselves out of unemployment. So there is a definite requirement for bringing in more innovation in our pricing strategy. So I'm sure all universities across the world are looking at it and trying to find the right mix of cost and price. So these are some of the strategies which on an institutional basis education institutions will move towards. And one last thing which all universities must be trying is to increase their expand their prospect database and sources. So we have to look for newer pastures, we have to look for those newer segments where there may be our prospective students. So it is going to be a more harder drill and longer drill to bring the right type of student to the university. And definitely more work has to be done towards finding the right student and increasing our prospect sources, using more use of social media and reaching out to the young generation. And so these are some of the areas where there may be strategic shifts, and institutions might need to invest more in human resources and the purchase of right type of technologies, so that the admissions counselors can do their jobs effectively. So these are some of the strategies which I thought were useful to the education industry, and I will be happy to take questions now, and on any aspect of the counseling process or the way the admission process runs, and what the counselors should do. So do we have the questions right away?
Thank you so much, Dr. Shukla. So before we get into the questions, and please keep your questions coming, we will address them. I'd like my colleague Murli, who oversees sales in the education sector, to please share some insights on counselor efficiency. Murli, over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and hi, Kavita. Thanks for the wonderful session. So it was a pleasure having you. It was really informative. Yeah, it was informative, and yeah. So I think the points you mentioned on counselor efficiency and managing and setting rightful goals. And thanks for choosing LeadSquared, Kavita, for your admission automation platform, as LeadSquared.
I did mention that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So so I think for the audience, so LeadSquared focuses on improving counselor efficiency, starting from the journey of inquiry coming from your admission portal or online website or different sources, and the overall journey of managing the admission process can be done on LeadSquared, and with our automation engine, we basically automate certain steps starting from lead capture to distribution to managing counselors and making them more efficient across the student journey. We'll be happy to assist in case any of you in the audience want to automate your admission process. Yeah, and we can quickly jump into questions. Kavita is there, and I'll be able to answer a couple of questions specific to LeadSquared, if any, or in general, Kavita will be able to answer, any questions you have on overall admissions across the globe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Murli. So, Dr. Shukla.
I can't hear you, Shibani.
Oh, sorry, I was on
Yeah.
mute. All right. So
Yeah.
let's get into questions. I am taking the first question from Kamlesh, who says, what are the things to remember while selecting software for educational institution in terms of automation? So what are the things to remember while selecting an automation? Yeah, Murli, maybe you can take this one.
Yeah, Murli can also tell about it, more equipped to tell, but I can tell from the user perspective that what we thought about. So Murli goes first, yeah.
Yeah, so I think a couple of points which needs to be taken care is definitely one important point is user adoption. Basically, whatever good software you choose, if the users are not using it, it goes for a toss. So you just need to make sure the software you're choosing is easy to use, quick to implement, and the change management process should be taken care of, which ideally means any process you want to change in future should be quick and should not be a hassle. I think these are from the admission process point of view. There may be other softwares you may be using on overall at a college level or at a university management perspective. So there can be a large ERPs which manage the whole journey. But I'll be more precisely commenting on the admission part of it, where you manage your enrollment. So there, user adoption comes as a first priority, and then ease of implementation and ease of change management, and obviously the product capabilities to manage automations efficiently. I think these are the things which you may have to look at. I think Kavita, you can add more to it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Bully. From a user perspective, my first intention while choosing a software was the user friendliness, that how easy it is to use and continue to use. You know, we often make very complex softwares and too many features, and we then we end up using just 25 to 30% of it. But what I found with even LeadSquared, that the user friendliness was very high, the implementation was easy, and we were able to train the counselors very quickly and bring them on to that platform. And there are features which are as I spoke in my presentation also, that it's very important to be digitally connected to the prospects and how engaged we are. So we have good, while looking for a software, you should look at the marketing aspect of it, that what tools are there in the software for engagement and engagement with the prospect. So those tools are very important to examine, and that's what makes the software a great platform to support us.
All right, thank you so much. I am moving to the next question, and yes, those of you who are asking for the presentation, you'll surely get that. This question is from Ria, who says, how can we get international admissions in this pandemic situation?
Should I take that? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Ria. We are, some of the statistics which I can give to you to bring confidence to you that yes, international admissions are still taking place. Now, I have seen a surge in international admissions in the last couple of months, because currently our January intake is open, and we are having a large number of students coming from Africa, even India, many parts of Central Asia. So it's very easy. You should, all universities are on the digital platform. You can reach out to them, and you can submit your documents, go through the due diligence, and select your right program, and you can take admissions. So it is not an issue, and most of the universities across the world have diluted their requirements. For example, most of the universities in US have stopped taking SAT scores and other MSAT and all that. So you can reach out. Did I answer you, Ria? If there is something else, I'll be happy to help you out.
Sure, Ria. So let us know if you have any follow-up questions. Then I will proceed to the next question, which is from Roger, who says, all right, Murli, do you have something to add there? Okay. All right. So I'm moving to the next question from Roger, who says, with uncertainty about what is going to happen next, how do we address this issue for students in admission?
Uncertainty, I just spoke about a lot of uncertainty which is happening, but there is every black cloud has a silver lining, so we should remember that. And the best thing to overcome this uncertainty is to have as much information as possible about your program, the choice of your university. So you should gather as much information as possible, do a good research on your desired program, its application in the future, and how relevant it will be, future relevant it will be. So the only way to overcome uncertainty is to have more and more research in that area. So what I would suggest is, Roger, that you should gather as much information as possible and then take an informed call.
All right, Roger. So let us know your thoughts on that. If you have any follow-up questions, all right. So he says thanks. Then I move to Karan's question. He says, which social media platform should one use for lead generation for niche courses? Would want to know from CPL to conversion perspective.
Okay, so what's the name? Who's this guy? Karan. Hi, Karan. It's a very good question, and I'm impressed with the nature of the question. Very pertinent, and I'm sure you are an admissions counselor. You must be. Now, see, there is no good, better, best in social media. We look at the effectiveness. So, what we have seen, the traditional modes, we are seeing that we have to examine that where the young population is mostly engaged. Mostly, where do you find? I find all the young generation on Instagram. So we have to find those tools which is most widely used by the children between 10 to 17 or 10 to 18, which is our target population. So we have found that Instagram is most widely used, and there are other platforms also, and it has been very effective. And even Facebook, the traditional social media platform, very effective, and it should be managed by the institution with the correct kind of information, proper EDMs, it should be properly marketed and designed. Whatever information you are putting on the social media has to be very carefully designed and has to have the right keywords to generate the CPLs. Okay, so you can make your choice, but most popular right now are Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn for that matter. Yes.
So he's saying, and he's also a marketing head at an educational institute in Mumbai. So he's saying that Insta is great for interactions, but according to him, lead generation is sluggish.
We have found Instagram to be good, and Facebook. Facebook is the ultimate in lead generation, and if the message is correct, it's very important that you should have the right message. So the right keyword should be there. the value proposition should be very carefully defined, and you should have a great visual, you know. So that's what attracts the students. So I think Facebook has been, for us, Facebook and LinkedIn have been very effective tools. So what I would suggest, it's only a suggestion, you should focus on the material that you are preparing, that what you are putting up on the content. You have to be very careful about the content that you are putting up on these social media posts, and definitely effectiveness will come in. So that's my suggestion and advice, that focus on the content.
All right, Karan, yes, I will move on. Yes, so he said yes, he will relook at this. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm moving to Shraddha's question. She says, what are the promotional strategies to be focused for the premier institutes who need student diversity in terms of geographical locations at campus?
Okay, so you are kind of it's a good question, that how we can get international students and how we can create diversification in our student population. So one technique which is digital in nature, which is we are using, and a lot of companies are using, that is geo-targeting. So you can, through social media posts or through websites, you can do geo-targeting, and you can reach out to those students who are in different countries, and you can showcase your university and your programs to engage them and make them interested in your catch their attention, the IDA model which we teach in marketing. Yeah, so first we have to create take their attention and create their interest. So geo-targeting is one of the strategies which you can implement. And plus, in pre-COVID times, education counselors and admission counselors, we used to travel a lot, meet the students face to face, visit schools in far-flung countries, in other countries, and we used to keep the students engaged with us. So you can use geo-targeting in this time, and otherwise you can advertise locally and find the students to come to your university.
All right. I am moving to the next question from Senthil, and I think, Murli, this one's for you. He says, dear LeadSquared team, greetings. We understand that software is very effective and efficient, but what about the data or lead security, which is more important than efficient and effectiveness?
Yes, Senthil, I think completely agree with you. So I think LeadSquared, or for that matter, any CRM platform in the market, takes security very seriously, and especially from the LeadSquared perspective, that's our top priority. Being a SaaS platform, we make sure all our customers' data is secure, and we follow all the best practices from the cloud data storing perspective, and also encrypting all the data. And we also have all the required certifications in place in terms of ISO or any other compliance perspective. We abide to all the regulations, and on top of that, we also sign an NDA with the customers, so that also acts as one of the important metrics while getting onto a deal with any college. So yeah, I mean, definitely security plays the top role, and I think all the companies out there will make sure that data is secure.
All right, thank you, Murli. I will move on to the next question. How can we retain outstation admissions in this current scenario?
How can we retain? Now, see, retention is can be done if we have a clear engagement with the student, and that is through if our online platforms are effective, the assessments are being taken, the faculty is engaged with the student, and they are able to overcome the geographical distance, then student retention is no problem. Now in Amity University, The moment the pandemic came up, in March, we shifted to the digital platforms and we were using Microsoft Teams. And very effectively, we were able to transit. Even we held the online exams with, it was completely proctored and, with a complete academic rigor. It was examined, and we were able to give the same experience to the students had they been in the campus. Obviously 100% it cannot be replicated, but it was very effective, and we have had no student dropouts, even those students who were stuck in other countries, because we currently at Amity University we have 65 different nationalities who come from different countries, and the moment pandemic set in, many of them flew back to their own countries and they were unable to come back for next 6 months. But the student satisfaction was very high on the way the online education was imparted. So it is very important that the academic leadership is agile and is very strict in implementing the digital platforms, and the faculty is trained and equipped to deal with online platforms. So student retention should not be a problem if your online transition is 100% complete and effective.
All right. Now I'm moving to Jagdish's question, who says, how frequent should be the engagement with student from the time of filling the application form till registration, and which things to avoid or include during this long time gap between filling the application form to final registration?
Okay, so one thing which we have implemented here in Amity University through LeadSquared is the automation mails that we send to the students when the student stages are changed from suspect to prospect and different stages of his application process. So that keeps the students engaged, and also we have a system of sending out information about the university, pertinent information to a new student, that what is our hostel facilities, what are our sporting facilities, what is our counseling department. Then we have a message from the counselor that what support the child will get once he is enrolled in the university. So there are different ways of engaging with the prospect. So between the application and to the final culmination, obviously there becomes a gap of almost 3 to 4 months, 5 months till the student is enrolled. But a continuous sending out of information about the different value propositions, different aspects of your university will help to keep the student engaged with you, and will also keep up his interest in the programs in the university. So we have messages from the deans, and we have messages from our program leaders who goes to the student, and we have a newsletter which goes out to all prospective students. So there are different things that we can do to keep the student engaged.
All right, thank you. And I see 2 more questions. So Shiva says, COVID is indeed a blessing in disguise in terms of attracting all those who could not complete higher education for various reasons. Your comment on this specific trend?
Yeah, I do agree with you, Shiva, that this is one of the silver linings of the COVID which has come out. That is that education has become accessible to those people also who were not in the fold earlier. So definitely accessibility and acceptability, both A's have helped newer segment of students to come in, adult learners to come back into the education fold, to upskill and reskill. The reasons may be different, because they may be out of an employment, so they want to enter back the employment sector, so they have to upskill their current skill sets. So definitely this has been a positive outcome of the pandemic, whatever we can say, the silver lining, that education has become more accessible, more affordable also. So online education online education has the same, the content development has been so high quality that the acceptability in the market has also been very high. So that is definitely, I agree with you that pandemic has created a new demographic set of people who will take up education, and also it has become a need of the hour, because see, I was talking about data management. In future, data analytics, data management, and digital analysis, digital marketing strategies, all these will become very, very important. And who's a data scientist? Someone who can do research, someone who can look at data, and that can happen only if you have done a PhD, if only if you have gone through the research, highest degrees in research. So that is also one of the demographic which will come into the education fold. Yeah.
Okay, I am moving to Amrendra's question here, who says, how important are BTL activities to attract admissions? And if it plays a role, how can we execute it in a pandemic situation?
Okay, that is good. That BTL activities are very important. Indirect marketing, it's a form of indirect marketing. So in the pandemic, BTL is only through social media. You can do what one such example which I will give you is that we ran a series of students of Amity series on Facebook, where our star students spoke about their experience at Amity or whatever they were doing. So it was an indirect marketing, and then we had some taglines which went along with that video. And so these are some of the ways we have to find innovation in the way we have to reach. And indirect marketing, definitely subliminal, we call it subliminal marketing also. So it is more powerful. It is more powerful than direct marketing. Sometimes it's more effective. So definitely you should use the social media to do this type of indirect marketing.
And I think we finally come to the last question, as I don't see any further questions coming up. So Lagna says, could you please share some insights on your admission funnel?
My admission funnel, okay, that's good. Admissions is all about convincing and understanding the need of the student. I always advise all my counselors, and I personally also, I sit in all counseling sessions as much as I can. We have to first speak to the student and understand what is his interest, and what is his passion. So first thing, all admission counselors, I would say, are high quality psychologists. As far as I'm concerned, because they have to understand, they have to listen to the student, what is his passion, what is, and how compatible it is with his current whatever subjects that he has done. So the admission funda, which I would say, is listen, understand, and then advise. So that is my admission funda. Listen to the parent, the student very carefully, what is their need, where the student wants to go, and we have to advise, give such options which are good for the student. So my admission funda: listen, advise, inform, and then do the application process.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Shukla. I don't see any more questions, so I think we can conclude, and it is just over time. Thank you so much for a great presentation, for sharing your insights, your learnings, your research, and we really would look forward to having you back at some point to enlighten us again. I would also like to thank my colleague Murli, who's just sitting across me and looks extremely busy. But thank you so much, Murli, for joining in and sharing your insights as well.
Thanks, Shivani, and thanks, for your wonderful session, Kavita.
Thank you so much, Shivani and Murli. It was my complete pleasure. And I hope that I was able to give some bits of information which were useful to our audience, and I was able to answer their questions. I will be happy to take any further questions at my email ID, which I've left on the screen, which is kshukla@amityuniversity.ae. You can also visit our website, amityuniversity.ae, and you can write your question in the chat box. It will come to me. So I'll be happy to engage with you on any platform. Do connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can leave a message there also. Thank you, Shivani, for the wonderful coordination and your perky presence, your smiling presence throughout throughout the presentation and throughout our coordination. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for inviting me on this platform.
Awesome. Sounds great. If you all want to be as awesome as Amity University Dubai, then try LeadSquared. I have shared the LeadSquared website page on the chat column, so do take up from there. And Murli, any final concluding thoughts from you?
No, I think whoever are looking for automating their admission process or improving their counselor efficiency, please drop a note. We'll be happy to assist you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So it's bye from Dubai.
Yeah.
Bye from
India too.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.